super secret location deep within the mountains of Colorado, it's time to strap up, strap in, or strap on with your host, Shenanigans in One Shot. It's From the Ashes Radio!
I know what you're thinking right now. Holy crap. One Shot lost a lot of weight. But no, that's not what it is. He's just checking on our security protocols right now. He'll be right back. He just had stuff to do before we got this party started, but don't you worry. He's hobbling his way into the infirmary as we speak. Everything good?
Everything's en route to being good.
Chief of Security and Assistant Chief are headed back to the area.
Hopefully.
Hey, folks, this is your last week. This is your last week to follow for you to earn this skateboard deck. This is it. Next week on the show, we are giving it away. So you have 4 things you have to do. You have to follow Raid Skateboards on Instagram. You have to follow About Face Radio on Instagram, and you have to follow From the Ashes. You do all 4 of those, you get entered into an Excel spreadsheet, and then on that day, probably my daughter or somebody will be a random generator. Yeah. By random generator, I mean a baseball hat. And and then we'll pull you out, and you might get to win this sweet deck from Raid Skateboards. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, we had on, first of all, thank you for your patience with last week. I was having a lot of heartache with the technology last week. You missed a great interview with Dan Horgan. Excellent interview. You may remember a few weeks ago, we interviewed Rob Garnett with One More Wave. Well, they sent us some of their stickers to give away to you folks. They are reflective. They are super cool. So if you would like one of these stickers, just let us know, and I would be delighted. All you do is leave a little comment there, and I would be delighted to send you one of One More Wave's sweet stickers with the suicide hotline number on them, and they are reflective. So they are super cool. How's your week been?
Not bad.
You look really good. I'm extremely impressed with how well you're moving
really
around.
Skinny.
Huh?
I look really skinny, I feel like.
You do very much that.
But besides that, things are going better. Knees right where it's supposed to be.
I'm guessing the opposite leg is all like twiggy.
Oh yeah, it's I can do this around my quad. That's sad.
Not that you were a very stout gentleman to begin with.
But I at least have like a little leg.
Not anymore, guy.
Yeah, it's not a leg. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see you up and moving around.
Good.
Looks good.
Good. Yeah.
Glad
everything's your way.
Stupid busy. I started a new job on 3 April.
Nice.
But I had
to be employed again.
Yes, it's gonna suck, man. Jobs, God. Why can't people just pay me to exist for my stunning good looks, witty charm, and huge muscles? Oh, Anthony Ryan is watching. So if those of you that don't know who Anthony Ryan is, Anthony helps to run Patriots Hockey. If you are a veteran and you are interested in learning how to play hockey and you'd like to be on a hockey team, find Anthony Ryan and Patriots Hockey, and they will happily hook you up. Anthony says jobs are the worst. I agree completely. No one wants to have one. They just suck. So, but yeah, 3 April, I started a new job. I interviewed last week for a job with a law office, which we'll see if that one comes through.
Yeah.
So
you're going to be a lawyer now?
No. Marketing for a law office, which would be super fun for me. Yeah. So, but yeah, we had that kind of sit down talk over the kitchen table, like, which one do I take? Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. What do you think? Healthcare recruiter or law office bitch?
I mean, they both sound real fun.
We can't all own thriving jiu-jitsu academies, I mean, come on now.
Have you applied to like Raid Skateboards?
No.
Oh man.
No, I mean, I could, I guess. I applied to Black Rifle, but then when I did not get hired with Black Rifle. But when then I saw the people that did get hired, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense why I didn't get hired. All right, I got that one.
That was literally the next one I was going to say.
Black Rifle.
By the way.
Yeah. Well,
Raid's sitting right here. I'm like talking about them
because they're awesome.
They're kind of awesome.
I guess you haven't had a chance to try out either of those decks yet. So, but yeah, no. I haven't tried mine out either. It's sitting in my office looking cool.
Yeah.
So
I feel like at this point in my years on Earth, I might let go of the skateboarding.
Mm,
I haven't done it for a while, and I think we've broken enough things. I might want to steer away from skateboarding.
the things we do are pretty violent, and by that I mean riding in a John Deere Gator with you when you're driving it. But yes, the things we do are violent and fun. So yeah, I get that. I don't know. I'd still ride a skateboard. I mean, you know,
I would too, and I probably wouldn't be hitting the half pipe.
I want
I
to be
would
that.
know better.
I want to be that old crusty guy that's still riding a skateboard down the sidewalk and whatnot with a beard on, and you know, is that homeless guy riding a skateboard? Yes, he is.
Yeah, I took Cannon to skate park last week, and there was definitely an older bearded dude killing it. Nothing was big, but he was clearly at skateboard.
Yeah,
a while. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I want to be that guy. I'm totally down with it. That's who I'd like to be as I get older. You know,
I saw this commercial for the snowboard skateboard.
I haven't seen that one.
It has like a middle wheel, so you can like carve.
I have not seen that,
dude.
Junior desperately wants a one wheel. Do you know what that is?
I do, and no, I'm not getting on one.
I mean,
you can't pay me enough to get on that.
I won't even ride those scooters around like downtown Denver because, like, I know of too many people. I have a friend Max who is now paralyzed from the neck down from riding one of those scooters in another city in Texas. But yeah, I'm like my buddy Chris Dudley. He rode one of those things, hit a little crack in a sidewalk, and just ass over tea kettled it. I mean, this dude is super fit, and yeah, he got busted up, man.
Yeah,
screw that.
Yeah,
you know, no helmet required. So the one wheels, not happening, man.
I might actually wear a helmet
on a one wheel.
If I was on a one wheel, I'm putting a helmet on.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and I see people screaming around Denver on those things. And
yeah,
I'm like, dude,
ripping it up.
You are one Mazda Miata blowing a red light away from your life being over.
I love how you used a Mazda Miata.
I mean, Jesus, yeah. You know, whatever. Nissan Altima blowing an intersection, and you're toast, man.
Dude, a cyclist.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know.
So I loved our phone call today, and you're like, "What?"
What was special about our phone call today?
Well, you're like, "What does CB&O stand for?"
Oh.
Congressional Budget Office.
Thanks for like putting me on blast.
I wouldn't know either, dude. If somebody didn't tell me,
yeah.
If it wasn't for like Allie and all them telling me what this stuff was, I wouldn't know either.
Well, Allie is a smart one.
I got launched off one of those in the Springs. Denver team starting soon. If you want, message me if you want to play. So yeah, if you're interested in playing hockey, hit up Anthony Ryan and he will put you on in touch with Patriots hockey. Good things will come from it. So yeah. But I really want to, before we get Mandy Connell on the show, I really want to talk about this CBO proposal. Okay. Did you look into it at all? Any further?
I didn't have a chance to.
Okay. So I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday of last week. It pops hot that, hey, look, the government is looking for places to cut and save money. And so the Congressional Budget Office releases all these ideas, and Allie's going to lose a gasket when she gets on here. You know that she's having stroke symptoms as we speak. And basically what it said, one of the ways to cut money is the Department of Veterans Affairs. And listeners, please feel free to correct me on any of this that I have inaccurate. The Department of Veterans Affairs is going to do a means test. And if you, as a couple, make greater than $170,000 a year, they will incrementally reduce your payout for disability. On one hand, some people that I know are like, hey, if you make 170 grand a year, do you really need your disability that you're getting from the Department of Veterans Affairs? On the other hand, look, motherfucker, I earned that shit. My body is bruised and broken. And if you watch me walk up and down a flight of stairs every day, you would understand why I have Anthony Ryan. Ooh, I read about this.
You know what I really don't like?
People?
No, well,
senators,
most of them,
politicians,
all of them.
Democrats.
This is not a political show.
Sorry.
It's the word disability.
Ooh.
I prefer the word compensation.
Ooh.
Because that is truly what it is.
Agreed.
Because Social Security does disability, right? VA compensation it's like workman's comp, basically. It's like, look, the military did this to you, or not necessarily like your general so and so blew out your knee, right? But you spend a little bit of time in the military, and more than likely you have some level of injuries directly, directly from your job. And so I look at it like that,
What are your thoughts on
and that
10% right at the top? Everybody gets 10% right to start. Because theoretically, if you did 4 years in any branch of service, you've been exposed to toxins. You've been, jumping off of airplanes and jumping out of helicopters.
There's no way something hasn't happened.
You're beaten up slightly.
Okay. Because then at least you get your foot's in the door at the VA, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that opens doors for you, like mental health,
right?
Which they already have that established and whatnot. But that opens certain doors for you,
right?
So
no, I'm totally good with that. But yeah, the other part is, and going back to the 170K. So one, that was for you and your significant other, your spouse, right? So let's say you just got lucky and you married, your spouse made 170K. So now you're significantly over it. So they're going to take my compensation away. So I no longer have my personal money. That's what I also thought about. For those people that are like severely disabled and are completely incapable of making any money whatsoever, I feel like that's really a terrible thing to do to them, is make them even feel that much worse, because now they can't make $1. They're not getting compensated for the reasons why they can't go work.
One of the arguments that I saw online, because I posted that picture that veteran with a sign had up, and one of the points that someone else made was, well, hey, if I lost both of my legs in an IED accident, and now my wife has this uber successful job as a, working OnlyFans or whatever it is, what does that have to do with me losing my legs in an IED blast?
Right.
Which is kind of making your point.
Mm-hmm.
And the point that others were making was, if you and your spouse are making 170K a year, do you really need financially?
And that's the other part that we talked about a little bit earlier, is, do they think about the median income of that area?
Excellent point.
Because here's the deal, 170K.
Because in Orange County, California is a whole lot different than wherever the hell you're from, Nebraska or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, if you make 170K a year and you're living in Beaver City, Nebraska, that is a much...
Is that a real place?
It is. And I really wanted to say...
I want to drive through Beaver City. That's awesome. Please tell me they have stickers or a gas station at least.
Oh, there's stuff. There's a burger joint that's open like certain days for like 2 to 3 hours.
That's awesome.
What else? There's like a bar that, again, is only open certain days and certain times. There's a little coffee shop and a little knick-knack shop. That's it.
I see a motorcycle trip in my summer.
It's a blast.
I'm going just to see. All right. So now that that's talked about, and I'm sure Allie will have a lot more to say when we bring her on. I think should we bring on Mandy?
Absolutely.
All right. I've been waiting for this one for a long time, so let's do this. Let's see what we got here. Push the button. There she is.
Okay, Robert, we have to have a chat right now. We're going to start out right now with a chat, because is the only way that someone's wife could make $170,000 a year in OnlyFans in your mind? Is that the only opportunity for women to make a lot of money? I'm just curious, because you went there right away. You were like, yeah, she's making it on OnlyFans. Yeah, I'm just saying what I heard, man.
What other opportunities could possibly pay 170K?
I wouldn't know.
So, Mandy, I discovered something very, very important this weekend. You are being oppressed.
Well, oh, am I?
You are. So
can I get paid for this? Can I get paid for this? Or is this, I'm oppressed. Oppressed.
You should sue Tesla, because I didn't know. So the Mandy Connell show is broadcast on 94.1 FM and AM 850, which is where I choose to listen to it. If you drive a Tesla, you can't get AM radio on a Tesla. So theoretically, people who drive Teslas are missing, or there's a huge audience that you have that are not getting to listen to your show.
luckily, people who have fancy cars like Teslas also have these things called smartphones. So they can just stream the show on the iHeartRadio app, which is another way of consuming the show as well. Actually, all electric cars will take AM out because they say it interferes with the operational system. It sounds like the same kind of crap of your cell phone's going to interfere with a jet. I'm not buying what they're selling.
I don't believe that crap either. Are you telling me this plan to crash because I decided to play Wordle?
See, I always leave my phone on just like to be, I don't know, a problem or potential problem. I don't know. I don't believe them. I think they're lying. I think that's a lie about cell phone communication.
So I just like to point out that our listeners are very excited, and some of them said, "Hey, there is an Ace Hardwood in Beaver."
Okay, so
this is our listening audience. This is what you stooped down to tonight.
You know what? We all got to start somewhere, and right at the bottom is as good as any, Rob. Cheers.
Go ahead, Seth. What were you going to say, man? This is clearly your wheelhouse right here.
There used to be an Ace Hardwood and
hardware guy.
Oh yeah, hardware. Who was owned by a gentleman by the name of Lee Hunt, who was
get the heck out of here.
Who was my godmother's father.
This is what I'm working with. This is what I'm working with.
He sounds like he's from the South, like from my hometown, where it's like, oh yeah, the guy who owned the shoe store, he also owned the leather shop that was next door, but then he sold it because he and his brother got in a fight. But they don't talk anymore, but they still own businesses right next to each other. So they can stare at each other on the street when they pass. That's my hometown.
This is why we invited her. So
she also summed me up.
Yeah, exactly. So Mandy, first of all, and most importantly, welcome to From the Ashes on About Face Radio. Really appreciate having you. When we first started this little adventure, you were the first person I came to and was like, please give me advice. And you gave me all the advice in the world. So why are you so supportive of the veteran community?
Well, no, there's two different things here. First of all, I'm married to a veteran. And my son is a veteran. So I have a vested interest in what happens to the community, but in terms of what this is, you've married together two of my favorite things, like veterans and radio. And I'm so lucky that they pay me an obscene amount of money, way more than OnlyFans would pay me at this point in my life. I'm just saying, okay? Like my OnlyFans window kind of closed a few years ago, if you know what I mean. Unless there's a market for like older women that just haven't quite kept it all together, it's like, anyway, but I love the fact that these two things are together, and I'm married to a disabled vet, actually, because you and I talked about the CBO stuff. And so I did not grow up in a military family. No one I knew was in the military when I was a kid. I mean, no one. So when I married Chuck, it was like I got this entree into a bizarro world that I did not know existed. And it's been really interesting for me through both him and actually my son, who was an infantry officer, and I got to meet his team. And I'm not going to lie, the first time you see grown men call your son sir, I couldn't stop laughing. Like every time they would say sir, I would laugh. And Chuck was like, you have to stop laughing. I'm like, I can't help it. I know he's an idiot. They don't know it yet. Right. So, but it's something I recommend, that there's so now, what is it now? What 2% of Americans have a direct connection to the military? I mean, it's a really tragically low number, but it's really hard to suggest that, the CBO cut disability benefits when you know someone who has served and sacrificed their body in many, many ways and had it put back together badly by the Army. And then I just don't suffer the notion that we should be putting cost saving measures on the backs of veterans. And I say this as the wife of a disabled vet who gets a disability payment that is comically low. I mean, if people knew what they expect you to live on as a disabled veteran, it would be a point of national shame. And luckily for us, it is secondary to all of our other stuff that we have, but it was definitely very illuminating for me to be a part of it in a way that I had never been a part of it before.
Well, and that is all we are about here on this show is shame. I have tons of it personally.
Oh, wait, I forgot to turn
we like pointing things like what VSOs make per hour to do what they do. And how much that chat chafes our ass in a big way. By the way, just a reminder, this is internet radio, so you can swear.
You know what? I have a microphone in front of my face. I cannot let fly. It is physically impossible for me to say a curse word when I have a microphone in front of my face, because that is, for me, it's job or not job. So
one of the things that we talked about when we started this, the whole about face thing, is getting on AM FM, and I'm like, if we stay off of terrestrial radio, we can say anything we want to, and nobody can say anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Rob, the opportunities there.
Yeah, Rob has heard me judiciously curse off the air, so he does know that I am a cursor by nature. But when the microphone's in front of my face, it is like I cannot physically form those words. It's just years and years of not doing it.
It's pretty impressive the way you switch that on and off the way you do. It's a talent that I'd like to have one day. I'm impressed.
Well, it's 25 years of practice, turning it on and off. So there you go. But yeah, I just had a conversation with my 13-year-old daughter about cursing. Did you talk to your kids about cursing? Yeah. Because she said something about one of her friends. When she gets away from her mom, she curses because she can't curse at home. And I said, well, do you curse around your friends? And she was like, no. I said, okay, let's just have the conversation. Like, cursing is not horrible. It's really not. It's a stress reliever. It's a noun. It's a verb. It's an adverb. It's a transitive verb, all in one curse word. But you got to have the time and place awareness, right? Like, I'm on the microphone. I am not cursing. For my daughter, I said, if you are in public and you're a kid and you're cursing, all of the adults are judging you harshly, as well they should. So
I've never been able to get around people that curse in front of their kids. But now that my kids are 21 and 19 and they curse more, like my daughter, you'd think she's in the Navy.
What branch curses the most out of the military?
Far and away, Navy. Far and away. We give them their money.
Why is it Navy? You think Navy?
Because they have to wear.
I was going to say, is it because they're tired of being picked on by all the other branches?
That's exactly what it is. And the Marines try real hard, but they can't string together full sentences, so it's not really their fault.
And a lot of those words have 4 letters, and that's a lot for them. 4 in a row. Yeah. So, I should not kid. I have a nephew who is a Marine. My brother-in-law was in the Marines. Chuck's entire family is service oriented. So all of them have been in the service at some point.
So to be clear, you talked about this a little bit. Even before we started About Face and I came to you with this and I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. And you were supporting and whatnot. I was a fan of your show before I got to participate in your show. And you have always supported all kinds of different veteran organizations, Project Sanctuary, and all those other great organizations that are doing their best for the veteran population these days. I know your son is no longer in the military, but he is a veteran, like you talked about. Talk about some of those veteran organizations and what you've seen as you've been doing this for a very, very, very long time now.
Oh, here's the thing I would say, and this is going to sound kind of harsh to start off with, but if you're thinking about starting an organization to help veterans, please look to see if there's someone already doing what you're doing. There's so much overlap, and there's so many wonderful people with big hearts that have these big ideas. And instead of saying, hey, is somebody kind of doing what I'm doing, and then maybe we can add on this other part, they're going out and starting another veterans organization that's competing for the same dollars as all of the other veterans organizations. And what ends up happening is a lot of them just kind of peter out, they just kind of die. And then people are frustrated and they're sad, and they lose their heart for what they had the heart to do in the first place. So I always recommend that someone, if you want to help veterans, you do not have to start a new organization. I guarantee you that someone in Colorado is doing something very similar to what you want to do. I can say that with complete authority. But I've met the most wonderful people through just working. It started out with Veterans Passport to Hope, which honestly, I don't even know if they're still in existence at this point. But they introduced me. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't looked. All the board members that I know have now moved on with other organizations, because there was the founder was going through his own struggles with PTSD. And so he kind of stepped back. And when you lose the driving force in any organization, it's really hard to fill that role.
I agree.
There are organizations that you've introduced me to, and there's organizations for pretty much any thing that you enjoy, something that you find heartening, any of that stuff. There's some organization out there that will take you fly fishing or on a motorcycle ride or, on an elk hunt or, I don't know, there's probably a roller skating organization for veterans. There's yoga. I mean, there's really everything. And so when I hear of veterans really still struggling, it is really sad to me that people still think they have to suffer alone when all they have to do is say, I need help. And you guys, Rob is like my encyclopedia of veterans organizations. And I always call him first and say, I need this. I need someone who does this. And he always connects me with the right people. There's just so much opportunity out there. And if you are a service-minded person and you want to get involved, they always need volunteers. They always need money. They always need all of it. So there's so much opportunity in Colorado, probably more here than anywhere I've ever been, by far.
Listener Anthony Ryan says there is a market for everything. And you're exactly right.
Oh.
There's so many, I'm getting, I volunteer with Comeback Yoga. And now I find that there's, the Veterans Yoga Project. And I'm like, why couldn't we just combine all of these resources and do great things together and save people a lot of time, effort, and avail and personnel. There's only so many people to go around as well. You're exactly right. I love it. What do you call it? What was the other thing? But yeah, you made another point. I was trying to think what the other point was, but resources is what you talked about. Oh, volunteers. That's what it was. I get hit up constantly. Oh, dude, you got a radio show? And I'm like, well, I've got a whole radio station is what I've got. I'd love to put you on. And people walk by me all the time. I can't walk through the VA without 3 people being like, dude, I'd love to have a radio show someday. You start tomorrow. What do you want to talk about? And,
they're not ready for that. They're not ready. They love the idea of it, but the actuality of it is much, much, much different. I mean, it is much, much, much different. So it's
when you start talking about what it actually, I need you here every single Monday at 7 p.m. to start your show. Oh, right. Well, I got to take my kid to baseball. I get you.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that it is a hobby, but it's also a responsibility. And I will tell you that I suck at hobbies that are not responsibilities. If they are not a commitment, they fall by the wayside. Do you have any? Well, you have lots of hobbies. You're like a fly fisher person or whatever, and you do things with your motorcycle and whatnot. You have multiple hobbies. I realized the other day, I was like, I got nothing. I have no hobbies.
I work simply to pay for my hobbies. It's all. My job covers tattoos and motorcycle gas, and that's it.
And if you guys have not seen Rob's tattoos, oh boy.
There's a reason I wear long sleeves and long pants. They don't need to know all that trash.
Really? Really? I'm throwing you under the bus right now, and you haven't. I mean, whip those pants legs up. Show him what you got going on under there, Rob. Come on. Oh, come on. He's got socks on.
He's much worse.
He's got his skinny jeans on.
He does. They're a little bit elastic, too.
Yeah, I'm way worse with tattoos. I legitimately have your name on my ass.
Different spelling.
Okay.
Italian spelling.
That was more than I needed to know right there, Seth.
When I first started dating my wife, we've been friends for a while. I mean, day one, I told her, I was like, I love you and we're going to end up getting married. Mind you, we knew each other for a while. And then I was getting her name tattooed on me. And I get your name on me. And so she like almost broke up with me over it. Then she showed up to the tattoo spot and realized that I, in very pretty cursive, have your name in a red heart going on my butt cheek. So
with a whole bunch of other ones.
Yeah, nothing says I love you by putting your name right next to the fart hole. Well done, Seth. Well done.
So yeah, I have YOUR in me, not an actual name, but
Mandy, I've only got you for like another 5 minutes, but let's say that there's a whole bunch of veterans listening right now and they're like, damn, I want to do what that lady's doing. That looks super cool. If somebody wanted to get into broadcasting and get into radio, where do they go? What do they do? Should they go to college for it? Should they go to technical school? Should they knock on your front door? What?
I got to tell you, I have no idea. Everything in the industry has changed so much since I got into this industry. When I got into it, I went to broadcasting school. It was like a 2-month school where I learned how to cut up tape, like literally with a razor blade cut up tape, something I have in my entire 25 career never needed to do, not one time. But it got me an internship. And through that internship, I worked for free for like 10 months before a job became available at the radio station. Since then, an intern in New York sued my company for not paying them and not giving them a job. And now it's almost impossible to get an internship. And that's how I got my first job. I don't know. I'm going to be perfectly frank. Like, I don't know where the next generation of radio talent is going to come from. I would say now, if you really want to do it and you feel passionate about it, start your podcast and really work on your podcast. Ask people that you respect for their real live opinion on your podcast. Rob and Seth proving any idiot can have a podcast. And I mean, anybody can do this. But it is a super fun gig. And yeah.
The compliments, yes.
But no, I mean, it is, I go to work every day and I am amazed that I get paid to do what I do for a living. And I'll be perfectly frank, the money's not good when you first get started anyway. So you may as well start your free podcast and work for nothing, because you could go work for another company and practically work for nothing, but you don't own your product. When you have a podcast, it's your podcast, you own the product, and therefore you can do whatever you want with it. And if you the one piece of advice I would give people, and I think I told this to Rob, like, if you think you're going to start a podcast and you're going to have thousands of listeners in the first year, you're insane. How about the first 2 years? Also insane. How about the first 3 years? Also insane. But you still have to keep showing up. You have to keep doing it, because it almost becomes like Survivor, like Survive. Whoever stays there longest gets the most ears. And it really is just yeah, I mean, you just got to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Growth is slow, but it is really fun. And if you enjoy it and it's something you like to do, it's honestly the best job in the world. I could lie and say that it wasn't, but there's little math, very little math in this job, and no heavy lifting. So, hey, I'm in. Like,
well, Mandy, I only got you for another 2 minutes. So here's how we do this.
Okay.
I will.
Go ahead.
It's your 2 minutes, 2 minutes to shine. If we glossed over something you want to talk about, go ahead. It's your time. 2 minutes. We don't have time.
It's my time. Wait a minute. I would have prepared some soft shoe, a song, a dance, a little seltzer in your pants kind of thing. I'm not ready for this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to reflect back and talk about this whole thing from the Ashes Radio, About Face Radio. Every one of you guys that is doing this on this station, this is incredibly important for a variety of reasons. Number one, I think it is going to be financially viable at some point. I truly believe that. And you're showing people that you don't have to be mired in the worst part of being in the service, which is something that, my husband deals with and will deal with for the rest of his life. And I think some people get out of the military and they get stuck there. They get stuck in that window where they cannot move forward. They get stuck looking back and reflecting on all of that stuff. So if you can come on this radio station and cut the fool and be an idiot and enjoy yourself and have a good time and maybe do some good for other veterans, that's really the ultimate goal. So I'm super proud of you, Rob. I don't say that because I try not to be nice to Rob, because he has a little bit of an ego. So, no, I'm super proud of you, and I'm super proud of all of that this has become. And I'm really glad that you actually ask me for advice. And then he does this thing where he takes the advice that I give him. He's not an asshole, which is lovely. So, very, very happy to be here. And Jinx is making an appearance right back here.
That's the wolf behind you.
She's the floof. Come here, Jinx. She's like, no, she had dinner. It's time for a nap. Oh, hello. How are you? This is my floof.
Wow.
This is floof.
You also share the appreciation for a large dog.
Oh, she is the best dog ever. If you ever need the best dog ever, get a Saint Bernard. Best dog I've ever had. Yeah, she is just
a giant Anatolian.
Oh, there you go. Big dogs for the win.
Right?
I feel like your microphone just got covered in dog hair.
No, everything is covered in dog hair right now. She is about to have her blowout of her coat. Saint Bernards don't shed a lot until they shed everything. And we're entering that phase right now. So like my hands are covered with dog hair, and yeah, I'll just go take care of that now. It's all good.
So, Mandy, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your Monday night to participate and being a part of About Face Radio and From the Ashes, the radio show. This literally would not be possible without your support. I cannot thank you enough for everything that you've done for us. There'll be more to come from that as we go on. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with the Mandy Connell. You can hear her on iHeartMedia at AM 850, unless you're driving a Tesla, 94.1 FM, or you can download the iHeart app, and she is on noon to 3 p.m. Colorado time, Monday through Friday.
Podcast available all the time. You don't even have to listen live. It is an amazing show. I'm just saying.
Mandy, thank you so much, and tell Chuck we said hello.
I will. Bye, guys.
Great night.
Kick me out, or do I leave? How does this work? All right. See you.
We kick you off, to be honest.
Okay, whatever.
Bye, man. So, is now the perfect time for a break? Do you need a break, or you go?
Sure.
Good. Want to take a break?
I would like a 2 minute.
All right. So we're gonna go on a quick short break, folks. And when we do, sorry, I had to jump off. We're gonna go on a quick break. Just check the security in the perimeter. And when we come back, we will have Allie, who is back from her forced exile. And I think you all know what we're talking about there.
What a beautiful morning.
Ugh, I hate these big ass prices.
Sounds like you could use some big ass savings.
I'd love some big ass savings.
Kmart Shop Your Way members save 30 cents a gallon.
30 cents a gallon? That's a big-ass discount.
Big-ass discount.
A really big ass discount.
Really big ass discount.
Honey, this solves your big ass problem.
Totally solves my big ass problem.
Dad, look at that big ass truck.
Big ass man.
Hello, big ass man.
Shop Your Way members get big-ass savings. Save 30 cents a gallon when you spend $50 or more at Kmart.
You're finally back at her place for a little brown chicken brown cow when you get hit with love potion number 2.
Are you okay?
You skip to the loo before that keister kangaroo jumps out of its pouch. Now, what do you do?
Hurry up, come on. Come on, I'm on a date. This isn't happening right now.
You let that badonka-donk honka-honk and strike a match in the hopes you won't strike out. But alas, your chance of date number 2 just went up in flames.
Are you okay?
Do you have insurance? Just
It
wondering.
smells like burnt hair and blue cheese.
I got it.
Are you positive?
Don't worry about it.
Are you sure you're okay? You there?
You drop trow and give it your all like it's a one-shite stand.
I'm gonna be single forever. Oh, no.
You fill the air with fragrance to keep your craps under wraps.
Oh, man.
But instead you come out smelling like...
Did you spray my perfume? And poop? Not even on my worst day would this be okay. Not even in my most desperate times. I shaved my entire body for this night. Hard no, hard pass. I need you to go. No, not happening, bro. You gotta go. I'm out. Done.
I need you all to know that I play that commercial for that single line right there. I shaved my entire body for this, and it cracks me up every time. So, hey, I know everybody's interested to hear about this whole CBO thing, so let's bring Allie on if she's ready, and let's talk about this whole CBO thing. Aloysius.
Hi, guys. Good. How are you doing?
Good. How was your island exile?
Oh, I mean, it was terrible. Oh, I hated every minute of it. The waves and the beach and the tortoises and the food. I hated it. Terrible. I love being in Massachusetts where it's cold and dark and everybody's rude. I'm home. These are my people.
Shitty football teams and weird sports like soccer.
Right. And weird accents and, mobsters and gangstas.
That's right.
So
Right.
guess what I did this weekend before I get into CBO, because none of my friends give a shit, but I know you guys do. I got my motorcycle license this weekend, passed my test, and now I have license. Ooh, ooh.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it wasn't as easy as I thought. Like, lots to remember. And it kind of jacked me up because my first car was standard, right? It was manual, so I'm familiar, but everything is on the right? The only thing that's different is the clutch, which is on the left, but on a bike, everything is on the left. And so I mentally would hit the brake instead of, the clutch on the left. So kind of screwed me up a little bit, but I passed. C's get degrees. I'm in.
What bike did you ride for your test?
It was a Kawasaki Eliminator.
I don't even know what that is. Do you?
It's the one they use for classes all the time.
Looks like a moped.
It's like a little standard.
It's a little zing zing, yeah.
They have anti-lock brakes.
I did.
Okay, cool. My hand hurts every time I think about riding a bike that does not have anti-lock brakes.
Yeah,
brakes?
Most all of them. The ones I ride do. Yours doesn't?
I ride.
And you pay extra. Did you know that? Like, I'm learning so much about the motorcycle world. Bikes that don't have ABS cost less than bikes that do.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know. That's news to me. I didn't know Harleys didn't have ABS.
Not that I know of.
No kidding.
None that I've ever ridden. And I'm sure there's probably some newer Harley or some big bagger that has it, I guess. But I don't know.
Indians, because I like the Indian Scouts, right? But so I was building my bike from the wheels up, and they said ABS, and I'm like, well, yeah. And I watched the price go, and then I'm like, no ABS, and the price went down. I'm like, son of a gun, look at that. So
it's worth it, especially if you're a new rider. I highly recommend ABS.
Oh no, it's gonna happen. Yeah, no.
Yeah. When I go on to dirt, like as soon as I turn onto his street and to get to the super secret location, I shut the ABS off. ABS and dirt don't get along so well. So
So yeah, lots to learn, but I did it. So it's been like a lifelong bucket item list. I've had 7 of these. So let's get into this CBO because, like you said, I am pissed. So, okay. The rumor, so it's not a rumor. Okay, the CBO, enacted in 1975, their sole purpose is to throw out ideas to see how the U.S. government can cut down spending. Their bright idea this year was to cut veterans' pension or compensation. So, and right from their website, the exact proposal was to... because there's more than just getting rid of veterans compensation. They actually, disability compensation is not means tested. Veterans who work are eligible for benefits, and most working age veterans who receive such compensation are employed. We know this. Even if you are 100%, you can go out and make your millions. I say this all the time. Just because you are 100% does not mean that you cannot go work, okay? After veterans reach Social Security age, right, or Social Security's full retirement age, the VA disability payments continue. Okay, civilians don't get that. Okay, once you retire, you don't get salary. You get a small pension from your job from Social Security. Okay. Right. By contrast, the income that people receive from Social Security or private pensions after they retire usually is less than their earnings from wages and salary before retirement. So that's why veterans do pretty well, because once we retire, we still get the VA compensation. It's not decreased based on our salary. So under this option that the CBO is proposing, veterans who start receiving disability compensation payments in 2024. So if you are already receiving benefits, you are grandfathered in, but those who start receiving disability compensation in 2024 or later would have those payments reduced by 30% at age 67. So let's say you are receiving your 100%, your $3,000 a month. By the time you hit 67, which is retirement age, that number, that compensation would drop by 30%, which is not fair. Wow. Because these are our compensation, right? It is a compensation for a job that we have performed. We were injured, we're hurt, we're fucked up mentally. So the VA agrees to compensate us. Except under the proposal, once you hit 67, it would reduce by 30%. So Social Security and pension benefits would be unaffected by this option. Veterans who are already collecting disability compensation would see no reduction in their VA disability benefits when they reach age 67. So this starts if you are starting to collect in 2024. Secretary McDonough was like, that's stupid. We're not going to do it. You're going to have the nation's veterans fucking riot. And I always say this, like, I love this country. At one point, we were all willing to die for it. But Americans are lazy, right? Let's call a spade a spade. Americans are lazy. You see what they're doing in France, right? They wanted to raise the retirement age by like 2 years. And France literally shut down. They said, absolutely not. If that happened here, Americans would still go to work because we can't afford not to, right? Like, I feel like our government has suppressed us so much that we cannot afford not to work. Okay. The second option that the CBO said is getting rid of individual unemployability for veterans who reach age 67. So at 67, you retire, right? So under this proposal, the VA would stop making individual unemployment payments to veterans age 67 or older, which is the full retirement age for Social Security benefits for those born after 1959. So us, our generation. That restriction would apply to both current and prospective recipients. When veterans reach age 67, all VA disability payments would revert to the amount associated with the rated disability level. So veterans age 67 or older who are already receiving IU payments would no longer receive them after the effective date of the option. So, because as you know, individual unemployability, excuse me, guys, individual.
See, that's what you get from riding motorcycles.
I know. It's when I got being so angry and having 7 glasses of wine. I should probably tell my counselor about this. Anyway, so as you know, individual unemployability is paid for veterans who cannot have gainful employment because their disabilities are so severe, right? So you are paid at the 100% rate. You do not have to be 100% compensated. You can be 60 to 90% with your disability rating. File for individual unemployability. The VA will acknowledge that your injuries are so severe you cannot hold gainful employment. They will pay you at the 100% rate. With this, with IU, you cannot work full time. You cannot have gainful employment. You can work, but it has to be under what the income cap is, right? What the poverty line is. So under this new CBO proposal, once that IU veteran reaches 67, we're going to stop IU because you're not going to work, right? From 20 to 67, right? The average human being will be in the workforce. At 67, you're retired. Social Security says you got to be retired. Boom. So CBO is proposing that they cut IU for veterans age 67, which is bullshit. But whatever.
So, well, okay. So basically, yeah. So long story short, hey, you're not holding a job. You are collecting Social Security, so you don't need individual. Long story short, if you're getting Social Security, you're not going to be getting the disability to go with that.
Correct, because you're not working either way.
So now take off the Allie VSO hat and put on the Allie I'm a veteran hat and tell me your thoughts.
So I've been getting a lot of what veteran makes $125,000? What VSO makes $100,000? And I'm like, listen, there are salaries, there are jobs that pay $125, $150, $160, right? So we're not gonna not give to somebody because you don't have it, right? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, so yeah. It's not the salary that you make from the VA. Like your VA compensation, they're not totaling $125,000 from your VA disability. This is your salary. This is your household income for your spouse, you and your spouse. So as much as we have fought to get our pensions and our compensation, I think there are a bunch of other shit that the government could spend less money on instead of its nation's veterans, right? It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me how the government will always fucking find money. Will always find money to go to war and to fund other countries' wars, right? Now, and I feel bad because who suffers? It's the civilians, it's the nation, any nation, it's their people, and it's the veterans that fight the war, no matter what side you're on, right? Because fathers are still fathers, right? Like insurgents are still have families, right? So we're going to penalize the veterans who fought the war because their governments wanted them to fight the war and not give them some fucking compensation for a couple of years because they're going to die at age 70, 80. Vietnam guys, they're dropping left and right. There aren't many World War II guys left. There aren't many Korean guys left. They're suffering. So really, how about we not fund other nations? How about that? How about we get homeless veterans off the fucking streets? How about we get kids educations? How about we make education important? How about we have people who have less food security? Why don't we feed them? But no, you're going to cut veterans benefits because holy shit, veterans don't deserve it.
Well, and I'm going to let my hetero life mate here make the point that he made earlier. But you're literally disincentivizing the veteran population post-service from being successful. For me going and getting a job or opening a company and making $300,000 a year by selling podcast episodes or something like that. That'll never happen. Don't worry. And you're disincentivizing me from going and getting and following the American dream because you're going to take money away from me that I have earned. I don't. That's just my shitty perspective. But One Shot here had an excellent perspective. Go ahead and tell her what you were talking about at the beginning of the show with location.
So I feel like even if we say that we're good with this, let's just say, which clearly you know me well enough to know that's not the fucking case. So, the cost of living in Hawaii is a lot different than Beaver City, Nebraska. And I like saying that because
I just like that the Beaver City, Nebraska exists.
It's a real place. There's a farm a few miles outside of there I spend time on.
I'm going.
It's amazing.
Isn't there a place called Dildo, Texas? I think so.
I don't know, but that's amazing.
Why do you know that?
Yeah.
That's what I do. I drink and I know things, right?
I mean, there's no thought process in this. Clearly, like there's this thing in the military for our non-military listeners called COLA, cost of living allowance.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely high when you're in Hawaii. When you're in Georgia, it's a little
Fort Riley, Nebraska, or
Fort
Kansas.
Fort Riley, Kansas. Yeah, I was there. It's not a lot of COLA. Nope.
Make whatsoever to let's just blanket. Where did they also come up with this number? Oh, you know what? It's 125.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I was on the CBO website for an hour while I was listening to you guys. And I don't know. So everybody's coming after the CBO, right? Like I know they look like the bad guys, but they're really not, right? They're doing their jobs. They're trying to figure out how to cut budgets, and they fucked up and they touched our veterans budgets and our veterans compensation, and now they're getting a lot of backlash. So it was an idea. It was a shitty idea and stupid, but it's an idea. And Secretary McDonough is like, it's not going to happen. But then I'm like, okay, you say that, and I want to believe you. I really do, because he's like a decent guy. But it takes one asshat to be like, hey, I'm going to sign this. And then like groupthink comes into play and everybody's all of a sudden swayed. Yeah, veterans make too much money. Let me tell you something. Being a VSO, I have seen veterans compensation. Okay. I have seen VA compensation literally save people's lives. They have saved lives from being homeless. They're able to put food on the table. It's not like we're taking this money. We're going out fucking getting drunk and spending it on hookers and blow. We rely on this money. Not all of us, some of us. But we rely on this money to live. It pays our rent. It pays our mortgage. I want to put my kids in Catholic school. It pays for their tuition. It pays for clothes. It pays for groceries. Like, I wish that these people would understand that veterans don't have it as great as fucking people think we do. We rely on this money and we've earned it, right? It's not welfare. It's not welfare. It's not welfare where you can have 57 kids, walk into your office and be like, I can't afford shit. I don't want to work. I'm totally able-bodied. Put me in a house and give me, $10,000 a month. We have earned this.
Hopalong made the point earlier in the show, stop calling it disability and just simply call it compensation.
I don't know if you noticed, but Allie only calls it compensation.
I did catch. I did.
Because here's the thing. And two things. One, it's not very much freaking money.
It's not.
When you shut it down and you're 100%, it's not a lot of money. Like people, like, oh, they're just getting free money. Well, one, it's not very much. It's not
Well,
free.
it's not free
For damages done by
for
your
a
past
job served.
employer, for your past employer, basically. Okay, that's
Workman's comp. It is workman's comp.
Mm-hmm. So those two things definitely add to the frustration. But yeah, it's craziness as far as I'm concerned. Absolute craziness.
Allie, I know you plan each show several months in advance, so you know what you're talking about, and you were able to change that based on this events. But next week, I'd really like to spend some time talking about how VSOs don't get paid enough.
Let's talk about that just real quick. I was in DC, as you guys know, a couple of weeks ago, literally knocking on doors. Hey, Congressman, do you have time to chat? Hey, Senator, do you have time to chat? Because there is a bill being introduced to the floor about VSOs, and next week I'll have the number for you. But it's $50 million over 5 years, so we can train VSOs, so counties can hire VSOs. Now, if you remember me saying the Killeen, Texas VSO, one female, Casey, one female for the largest veteran population county in the U.S., one person. Like, my VSO isn't getting back to me. Yeah, because your VSO is overworked and underpaid. And a lot of these counties, they say, hey, it's a volunteer position, or we'll give you a stipend. Who the fuck wants to work for free? And this isn't an easy job. Who wants to work for free? So this bill, if passed, hopefully, will allow counties to hire VSOs, to train VSOs, and to make it an actual salaried position and not a volunteer position with a stipend for some guy who's 90 years old and just doesn't want to stay at home anymore.
Allie, we'll talk about that next week. Thank you so much. And we really appreciate your passion. And congratulations on that permit.
Thanks. License. All right, guys. I'll see you next week.
Next week.
Bye.
Bye, Allie.
Did you have that name you wanted to highlight?
I did.
The floor is yours, my brother.
Oh, I was really hoping you wouldn't say that.
Oh, okay. Why, do you need a minute?
So for those of you that there might be a listener or two that know this, but I actually spoke at this gentleman's funeral, and I feel like that's I don't want to. Yeah, you can do it.
So this is the point of the show where we talk about we call it Never Forgotten, and basically it's the folks that have come before us whose names that were with us and are no longer with us, and that names we don't want forgotten.
You know what I just realized?
What? Names we don't want forgotten. And we try to highlight, if you send us a name, we're going to put it together, and we're going to make sure that name gets remembered.
Give me 2 seconds, because I just realized we've actually done that one.
Just type it into OnlyFans or something like that. I have one on record if you're ready.
That came. There you go.
There we go.
There's one.
So, ladies and gents, tonight when you drop to your knees with your kids and you say your prayers for the night, please remember the 35th Infantry Regiment Association salutes our fallen brother, Captain Derek A. Say it for me. Dobogai, who died in service to his country on August 22nd of 2007 in Multalka, Iraq. The cause of death was listed as a helicopter crash. At the time of his death, Derek was 26 years of age. He was from Wisconsin. His decorations included the Silver Star. He was a member of the Recon and Scout Platoon. A Western Illinois University alumni among 14 U.S. soldiers aboard a Black Hawk that crashed Wednesday, August 27th. I remember this when this happened. According to the Associated Press, all 14 soldiers were killed in the crash. This was a run. They were going to like get medication refills, classes, all that stuff. It wasn't even like a mission that they were on. A member of the Western Illinois University Reserve, ROTC, commissioned as a second lieutenant 12 December 2003. So he was a young officer. Derek Dogabai was epitomized the very best of Western students, the very best of the Army's officer corps, said Colonel Coombi. Is that correct? C-U-M-B-I. Who was chair of the military science department after Dogabai's tenure. He valued his education, excelled in his extracurricular activities, distinguished undergrad at Western Illinois ROTC Battalion. May of 2004 commissioning ceremony, Dogabai was named recipient of Western Colonel Leo W. Manning's outstanding ROTC Cadet Award. So, ladies and gentlemen, please remember Derek Dogabai tonight as you tuck your kids in and you say your prayers and you say goodnight. If you have a name that you'd like remembered, please send it our way, and we would really like to make sure that they get highlighted. Before I cut you loose for the night, we have someone listening. His name is Michael Connors. Michael Connors is runs Colorado Canines, I believe it's called. Long story short, he trains canines to be service dogs for veterans. Michael is getting ready, coming up here in April to walk, I think it's 105 miles to bring attention to veterans. It'll be ending at 105 Brewery in Castle Rock, Colorado. I will share the flyer for that on the About Face Radio and the From the Ashes show social media, so you guys can. He would like your support. He'd like your help raising money. And if you're interested in strapping on a rucksack and putting in a couple miles with Michael, I'm sure that he would appreciate your support and your help. Gents and ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to From the Ashes Radio on About Face Radio. You can go on to our website, and we would really appreciate your donations. We'd really appreciate your support and your help. It allows us to put other DJs on the air. You got anything else for the crew before we kick them off?
Just remember, we'll set up another link, but our buddies down at Aurora PD are doing the polar plunge to raise money for Special Olympics.
When is that? 10 April?
That is April Fool's Day.
April 1st. So like next week.
Yeah. So they're jumping in some frigid water.
That's going to be
April
freezing cold.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than cold cops, is there? That's awesome. Want to come see a copsicle?
That's awesome. I'm definitely going. I got to see this.
Adam and folks, we're very proud of you, and we hope good things come from it. All right, folks, we're out of here. Thank you so much for listening tonight. We really appreciate you being a part of the show. And have a great night.